Now, here's something surprising. Blood is considered a connective tissue. That might sound odd at first. After all, it's a liquid. But let's unpack why this is true. In biology, a connective tissue is a type of body tissue that connects, supports, or transports things throughout the body. Most connective tissues have three main features: cells that are spread apart, an extracellular matrix, and an origin from the embryonic mesoderm layer. Blood ticks all three boxes. First, the cells in blood, like red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets, are suspended and spread out within a fluid, not tightly packed together. Second, instead of a solid or gel-like matrix like you see in bone or cartilage, blood has a liquid matrix called plasma. Plasma is what the cells float in, and it's full of dissolved substances like proteins, hormones, and nutrients. Third, during embryonic development, blood originates from the mesoderm layer, just like other connective tissues. So even though it flows, blood behaves like a connective tissue at its core. Let's move on to the layers of blood. When you spin blood in a centrifuge, a machine that separates components based on their weight, you get three visible layers. At the bottom are the red blood cells, or erythrocytes. These are the heaviest because they contain iron-rich hemoglobin. This layer makes up about 45% of your total blood volume and is called the hematocrit. Hemoglobin is what gives red blood cells their dark red color and their ability to carry oxygen. Above that is a thin pale layer called the buffy coat. This layer contains white blood cells and platelets and makes up less than 1% of blood volume. It's called the buffy coat because of its pale appearance. White blood cells are crucial for fighting infections, while platelets help stop bleeding by forming clots. The top layer is plasma, which is the lightest. It's a straw-colored liquid and makes up about 55% of the blood. Plasma is mostly water, about 90%, and the rest is made up of proteins, electrolytes, glucose, waste products, hormones, and gases. Let's talk more about plasma. The water in plasma helps transport substances and maintain blood volume and pressure. But what makes plasma really powerful are its proteins. The main plasma proteins are albumin, globulins, and fibrinogen. Albumin is the most abundant and has two key functions. First, it maintains oncotic pressure. What's oncotic pressure? It's a type of pressure that draws water into blood vessels. This is crucial because without it, water would leak into the surrounding tissues, causing swelling or edema. Albumin is a large molecule that stays in the blood and pulls water towards it through osmosis. Second, albumin acts as a transport protein. Some substances don't dissolve well in water, like fatty acids, hormones like thyroxine and cortisol, and certain drugs like warfarin. Since blood is mostly water, these substances need help getting around. Albumin binds to them and carries them through the bloodstream. It also binds calcium. Around 40% of blood calcium is attached to albumin. If you don't have enough albumin, a condition called hypoalbuminemia, you lose oncotic pressure. Water starts leaking into the tissues, causing swelling. This can happen in diseases like nephrotic syndrome, where the kidneys lose albumin, or liver cirrhosis, where albumin production drops. Next are globulins, which make up about 36% of plasma proteins. These are split into alpha, beta, and gamma types. Alpha and beta globulins are transport proteins for fats, metal ions like iron, and fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. For example, a globulin called transferrin carries iron through the blood. Gamma globulins are also called immunoglobulins or antibodies. These are made by plasma cells, which come from B lymphocytes, a type of white blood cell. Antibodies are proteins that recognize and neutralize foreign invaders like viruses and bacteria. There are different types like IgG, IgA, and IgM. IgG gives long-term immunity, IgA is found in secretions like saliva and mucus, and IgM is the first antibody made during an infection. Then we have fibrinogen. This protein plays a vital role in blood clotting. It is normally dissolved in plasma, but when you're injured, your body activates the coagulation cascade, a chain reaction that leads to clot formation. In one of the final steps, an enzyme called thrombin converts fibrinogen into fibrin. Fibrin forms long strands that create a mesh, which traps blood cells and seals the injury. If you don't have enough fibrinogen, a condition called afibrinogenemia, even a small cut could lead to dangerous bleeding. Now let's talk about the formed elements of blood. These are the solid parts. red blood cells, white blood cells, and platelets. Red blood cells, or erythrocytes, carry oxygen from the lungs to the tissues and bring carbon dioxide back to the lungs. They're shaped like a biconcave disc, which increases surface area for gas exchange and lets them squeeze through tiny capillaries. They contain hemoglobin, a protein with 4 subunits, each of which can bind one oxygen molecule. Red cells don't have mitochondria, so they don't use the oxygen they carry. Instead, they generate energy through anaerobic glycolysis. They live for about 120 days and are removed by macrophages in the spleen. White blood cells, or leukocytes, are your immune defenders. They come in 2 main types, granulocytes and agranulocytes. Granulocytes have granules in their cytoplasm. These include neutrophils, eosinophils, and basophils. Neutrophils are the most abundant. They're the first to respond to infection and perform phagocytosis, meaning they engulf and destroy bacteria. They contain enzymes like myeloperoxidase that help kill microbes. Neutrophil numbers go up during bacterial infections. Eosinophils are specialized to fight parasites. They also play a role in allergic reactions. They release histaminase, which breaks down histamine, and major basic protein, which is toxic to parasites. Basophils are rare but powerful. They release histamine and heparin. Now, what is histamine? Histamine is a chemical messenger released during allergic reactions and inflammation. It increases the permeability of blood vessels, allowing immune cells to move into tissues, but also causing swelling, redness, and itching. And what about heparin? Heparin is a naturally occurring anticoagulant, a blood thinner. You might wonder, why would the body want to thin the blood? In areas of inflammation, you don't want blood clots to form too quickly and block blood flow. Heparin keeps the blood flowing to help immune cells reach the area. Agranulocytes include lymphocytes and monocytes. Lymphocytes include B cells, T cells, and natural killer cells. B cells make antibodies, T cells either kill infected cells or help coordinate the immune response, and natural killer cells destroy virus-infected or cancerous cells. Monocytes are the largest white blood cells. When they enter tissues, they become macrophages, which eat pathogens and present antigens to activate other immune cells. Finally, let's look at platelets. These are not full cells, but fragments of a larger cell called a megakaryocyte. Platelets help stop bleeding. When a blood vessel is injured, platelets stick to exposed collagen using a protein called von Willebrand factor. They activate, release granules, and attract more platelets to the site. They form a temporary plug, and then fibrin strands reinforce it to make a stable clot. Platelet granules contain ADP, which attracts more platelets, serotonin, which narrows blood vessels to reduce bleeding, calcium, which is essential for clotting reactions, and thromboxane A2, which boosts platelet activation. Platelets live for about 7 to 10 days. So, to wrap up, blood is a fluid connective tissue that plays essential roles in transport, immunity, and clotting. Its liquid portion, plasma, carries vital proteins like albumin, globulins, and fibrinogen, while the formed elements, red cells, white cells, and platelets, perform specialized functions that keep us alive and healthy.